Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is TituElite and we are here in Pro Cycling Manager 23 for the ultimate guide to the Pro Cyclist Mode, where you can build a rider and have a lot of success with him. So we are going to talk about the build, we're going to talk about the available axes that we can choose from. Then we are going to talk about the rider potential, and after that, if you want to create a Grand Tour rider, I will give you some tips on it. Then a classic rider and a sprinter. Finally, we are going to take an in-depth look at the rider stats, every stat, and my knowledge about that. And finally, some final thoughts about the build that you want to do. Then we are going into the training session, where we are going to talk about the mechanics of training, what you should do in terms of training in the first season, what you should do in terms of training on a season that you have some race or races objective, and finally a conclusion, some final thoughts about that. Then we are going to talk about leveling up your rider and skills, starting with the available skills, when you should choose improvement of attributes or evolution of potential when you do get a level up, then some final thoughts about that. And finally, we are going to talk about racing with some examples, of course, starting with the manager orders that you'll be given every race at the start. Then the mechanics of the race, what you can do in race. Finally, we'll get an example of a mountain stage, taking TituElite, for instance, one of my series. He is a mountain dude, and we'll climb. We'll do a stage, a mountain stage, and do the final climb, so I can show you around what you should do in a mountain stage. Then the same on a sprint stage, and I'm going to bring you another rider that I've done. TituElite, I don't recall his name, but he's a sprinter guy. So what you should do in the sprint stage, and finally some final thoughts on it. And hopefully with this guide you can be very successful here in Pro Cycling Manager. So, in order to start a Pro Cyclist mode, you have to choose single player, then Pro Cyclist, and then you choose a database. I'm going to choose the default one because this one takes a long time to simulate stuff. So let's choose the default one. Then you create a game, and after the creation of the game, you will be presented with the selection, the build selection of your rider, and that's what we are going to start with our guide here. So you can give a name. I'm going to keep this on default, and you can set a height, you can set a weight, skin color, all this, the jazz, design jazz of your rider, personal information. Next, and this is the most important part, where we are going to have some axes to choose from. So the available axes that we've got, let's put this like so. The available axes that you could choose from is Stage Racer. The game is very good to give you an idea what each axis do. So the Stage Races, the rider is quite versatile and will excel above all in the mountains and on-time trials. This is an ideal type of rider if one ever hopes to win a race like the Tour de France. If you want to build a guy to win Grand Tours, you must choose this as a main axis. Then we've got a climber. The climber only yearns for one thing: cross mountain pass faster than his opponents. He is relatively light and can make powerful attacks in the mountains. Thanks to tremendous acceleration, he is a stage hunter, but when the terrain allows it, he can also look to be well placed in races like the Tour de France. Okay? Then, you time trial. So a time trial specialist. The time trial specialist is doubly interesting rider. Firstly, because he can deliver victories in time trial races, and secondly, because many stage races are decided on the time trial, allowing him to occasionally figure amongst the leaders in the general classification of these races. Then we can choose Sprinter. The sprinter is usually the rider who gains the most victories in a season. He needs a team working for him, as well as flattish terrain to fully express himself. For the most part, his role is to spare on effort for 200 kilometers in order to give all he's got in the last 200 meters. Puncher. The puncher is an all-around rider, endowed with exceptional abilities to make short bursts of effort in order to attack in the final stretch of a race and then to hold out to the finishing time. He's formidable on short climbs and can aim for victories in the most prestigious classics on the race calendar, such as Bastogne-Liège. This is focused on classics, one-day races. So, then Northern Classics. The Northern Classics specialist is a rugged rider who can cross cobble sections as if it was nothing special, and also has an extraordinary endurance, allowing him to figure amongst the leaders in classics such as Paris-Roubaix. Then finally the Baradeur. The Baradeur is a rider who is fond of flat and gently rolling terrain. He can either take part in long breakaways and hold off the peloton, or be a luxury team member. His qualities as a roller allow him to do the work of several riders when it comes to driving a peloton. So, and you can even see here what's the main stats that are affected by the axis. So if we choose this, you can see the stage races is focused on mountain time trial, especially on time trial. Then the climber, you can see it's going to be focused on mountain, medium mountain, and acceleration. So this could be good for winning the classics that are hilly. The time trial specialist, you can see time trial and prologue and flat. The sprinter will focus on a little bit of flat, acceleration, and sprint essential, and downhill as well. Don't you worry, we'll talk about every stat in a little while, but you can have an idea which axis is going to focus on. The puncher is a very good choice to try to win some one-day classics and monuments. A little bit on mountain, a little bit on medium mountain, focusing a lot on hills and acceleration, and decent sprint as well. The Northern Classics, as expected, is going to focus on flat and cobbles. And finally, the Baradeur. It's like a worker, like a teammate, is going to focus on flat a lot, a little bit on cobbles, a little bit on sprint, and of course Baradeur stat. The Baradeur stat will allow him to do strong attacks. We'll talk about that in race. Then we've got the potential. The rider potential, you can choose 4 things here, which means this will put your potential to the highest, this will put to the lowest. The potential meaning the max number in the stats that you can achieve. So Grand Champion will allow you to have the most max amount of stats, and very good the minimum amount of stats. And this affects as well the XP that you gain each month. I think Grand Champion grants you 55, World Class 50, Excellent 45, and Very Good 40 XP points each turn of the month. So for this, so that's the potential. So point number 3 of the build. If you want to create a Grand Tour rider, I would suggest that you should choose stage races and puncher, because it gives you time trial, mountain, and a little bit of acceleration. So I think that's the best combo of main axis and secondary axis for a Grand Tour rider. For a classic rider, I think you should choose. It well depends. If you want a classic rider focus on heels and sprint, I think you should choose puncher and probably sprinter, or even baradeur. That's a more focus rider for the heels and for the sprint. But if you want to win the 5 major monuments, namely Paris-Roubaix, the Tour de Flandres, Milano-San Remo, the Giro de Lombardia, and Liège-Bastogne-Liège, I think the best combination build is puncher and Northern Classics, where you are going to focus on hills and cobbles with loads of flat indeed, and it's a very well balanced rider, as you can see here. Finally, if you want to build a sprinter, a pure sprinter, I think the best combination is sprinter with baradeur, so giving a lot of flat, of course sprint, and even some baradeur skills in order to do attacks and have very high resistance. So that's it in terms of builds. Let's talk about a little bit of the attributes here, the stats per se. So first we are going to talk about the technical attributes, which will end here on probably downhill or baradeur, and then the physical attributes or the secondary ones. So flat is the ability the rider has to roller, to ride on a flat terrain, self-explanatory. Mountain is the ability of rider to ride on mountain terrain, but there's a caveat. As you can see here, we've got mountain, median mountain, and hills. In race, you have efforts ranging from 0, where the rider is basically stopping on the road. That's when you can withdraw from a race if you want to. You put all the way back the bar to 0 and the rider stops on road, and a little bit after stopping on the road, the rider will withdraw from the race. Mountain is the ability to go into 85 or 85% of the bar, which ranges from 0 to 99, not 100 but to 99. And mountain is the ability from till 85 to climb steepness hills and mountains and whatever climbs, let's say that. Median mountain is between 85 and 95, is where you are going to use the most medium mountain skill. Let's say mountain, the max amount of mountain you are going to use is when you are at 85. Medium mountain is when you are at 94, and hills is between 95 and 99. So when you are using 85, you are using 100% of your mountain stats. When you are using between 85, 86 in this case, and 94, you are using your medium mountain, being 94, 100% of your medium mountain stats. And hills, when you are using between 95 and 99, being 99, the 100% of your hill stats. Time trial is the ability to the solo effort in the time trial races, which are longer than 10 kilometers. 10 kilometers being the decisive factor between time trial and prologue. A race that has precisely 10 kilometers, it's considered to be time trial. 9.9 kilometers lower, it's going to be a prologue. So the other stat. Cobblestones, it's for the pavé races, the races with cobbles. It's going to be very important for the Paris-Roubaix or the Tour de Flandres. It's the ability that you are going to ride on those cobble sectors and not spending your red bar. I'm talking about the red bar. You have yellow bar, red bar, and green bar. We'll talk more in depth there on the racing section of this guide, but keep in mind this is your ability to save your red bar in the cobble sectors. Sprint, pretty explanatory. So sprint is your ability to sprint. The higher your sprint, the faster you are in that particular phase of the race where you got a button to do. Sprint, it's probably the equivalent to 100% of the bar, which you cannot access except pressing that button, the sprint button. Acceleration is the ability of the rider to reach his 100% speed, like the sprint, but from the speed that is currently is. So the higher the acceleration, the less time the rider will reach his maximum speed. Downhill, pretty self-explanatory as well. It's the ability to go in the downhill, and the higher the stat, the lower the risk you have to fall down on a downhill. You are more technically gifted to downhill. Barre 2 is a special stat here. Barre 2 is a stat that the higher it goes, the more likely you are when you press the attack button. You have the attack button. It's exclusive to the sprint. It's exactly the same button, but the sprint is very, very specific to certain parts of the race, especially at the end. 3 kilometers, usually 3 kilometers to the line, you have the sprint button enabled to press, and for 99.9% of the race you have the attack button able to press, which will use the Barre 2 skill, and of course the acceleration to reach the top speed in the less time possible. Then we've got the 3 physical attributes, or the secondary attributes as most of us call this set of 3 attributes: the stamina, the resistance, and the recovery. Meaning the stamina is the ability to save your green bar. You have a green bar. Let's talk about the green bar as a health bar. So the higher your health bar, the more healthy you are. The lower the stamina, the green bar, the more tired you are. Everything you do will consume the other bars, and even the other bars will shrink as your green bar shrinks. We got a threshold there, which is just about the icon of the water bottle on your rider's portfolio, or rider's not portrayed, but your rider's stats window, zone there, which after that little bit of point you are going to have a decrease on the maximum yellow bar and red bar that you have. We'll see that more in depth and talk about more in depth in race. Resistance is the ability you have to your yellow bar. The time your yellow bar is going to decrease after you're reaching a certain threshold, which will consume your yellow bar. You'll see on your rider stats you have a heart rate monitor, and the max amount of heart rate that you can use without spending yellow bar, it's 139. After 140 onwards, your yellow bar will start decreasing. The resistance is, of course, the higher the heart rate, the higher you will consume the yellow bar, of course. But this resistance stat is very important in order to decrease the rate of degrading of that yellow bar. So for instance, 2 riders are going to get 80, which is about 176 heart rate, so a very high heart rate, and it's going to consume their yellow bar. One rider is 85 resistance and the other is 50. Keep that in mind, that these numbers, these stats attributes, range from 50 to 85. with bonus you can go higher, but I think in mechanic games the higher you can go it's 85 and the lowest you can go is 50. Even if you got 85 flat, for instance, and you give a bonus race day condition of +3 and the game gives you a bonus of +2 on flat, you are not going to get 87 flat. You are limited to the 85. So in this example of resistance, if you got a rider both on 85 with every stat the same, the other stats are all the same, only the resistance is different, one with 85 resistance and the other one with 50 resistance, the one with 50 resistance will consume much faster his yellow bar than the one with 85. So resistance is a very important skill, very often neglected, but a very important skill, very especially coupled with the time trial skill. So time trialists will often get very good resistance stats as well. I think we can see here in the description is you can deliver victories in times, and secondly because many races are decided. No, it doesn't see, but I think the barra de says that. No, here probably, yeah, on the main axis. Nope, maybe the climber then. Tremendous assets. Probably the Northern Classics then. Yes. No, the Northern Classics says he has extraordinary endurance, and endurance is similar to stamina. So, but keep in mind, time trialists typically have high resistance. If we choose here the time trialist, yeah, you can see the resistance is way better than the stamina and the recovery. Meaning, the last stat, recovery, I'm going to change purposely to stage races for you to see that recovery is higher than the other two stats, physical stats, on stage races, and that's because recovery is the stat that will determine how well you will recover between stage and stage. Very useful on stage races like the Grand Tours, where you have 21 days of racing coupled with only 2 rest days. So this is a very useful stat in order for you to recover to the next stage, the stage that's coming after. Keeping in mind, as I was saying before about the green bar, when the green bar decreases to the certain point, a special point just below the water bottle, you are starting to lose red bar and yellow bar potential, max potential, and that means you are also losing freshness for the next stage. Meaning, if you can finish a stage with full, not full yellow bar currently, but full max yellow bar, you certainly know that the next stage you will keep the same freshness that you started, or even higher freshness, considering you have good freshness or average freshness starting a stage, and you end in that stage without crossing that threshold of the green bar, that you will suffer penalties on the red and the yellow bar. You will increase freshness for the next stage to very good or even to excellent. So keeping that in mind, and I think that's the things that I wanted to talk about on this screen, about stats, about builds that you can do for Sprinter, Classic and Grand Tour riders. My final thoughts about this is I've gave you a suggestion how to do a Grand Tour rider, a Classic rider and a Sprinter. My experience with the series that I've done here in the channel that you can check out on the playlists, and even before I had this YouTube channel, I've played this game for a long time, is my best build ever was, curiously enough, the last build that I did for Pro Cycling Manager 23 of TituElite Escalador, which was kind of not intuitive, kind of polar opposites axis. That's what I like to do. I chose Climber, and sprinter as a secondary X. And as you can see, he's a very well-rounded guy. Poor on time trial, prologue and cobbles, but I was not aiming for that. My objective was to win 3 monuments, 3 hilly monuments, let's say that Milan-San Remo, Liège-Bastogne-Liège and in Lombardia, and getting well on the Grand Tours, especially getting the best climber classification on Tour de France, in Giro d'Italia, and especially trying to win La Vuelta being less focused on time trial. So this will give you a lot of mountain, a lot of climbing capability, and loads of sprint. And in that series I've achieved well over 150 victories, and not only on mountains, we are very good on mountain of course, but also on sprint. I think I have, at the end of that series, I have 84 on mountain, 83 on medium mountain, very high hills like 77 or 78, something like that, and 75 on sprint. So we are a menace even on sprint stages. So I recommend a build like this if you are starting new, if you are new to this game. This one, or I think the most used one and probably the most intuitive one, Stage Racer and Puncher, if you want to fight for Grand Tours and winning the Tour de France, as the game suggests. So I'm going to use this for this guide, and of course I'm going to bring you some riders of my series in order to give you examples in race and all that stuff. But for the training and the leveling up, I will use this example here. So I will click next, and after you click next, you go to the third screen, which is to choose your team. Here you can choose what your heart's desire, but I tend to choose the worst team, and the team that we are probably the better rider right from the get-go. Not the best, but one of the best riders of the team, especially on one speciality. And as you can see, the first team here, which is in Continental, that's very important as well. So we'll have access to easier races, which is important, because if you fulfill your manager orders for each race, or you surpass that, imagine that the manager orders is you have to work for 20 kilometers at the end of the group, at least with one teammate. Okay, you do that, you'll receive a number of points. But if you can manage to win that race, despite all odds, you are receiving loads of points, and that's very good for leveling up. So I recommend that you choose the weakest team for your first team, or the team, even if not the weakest, where you can be one of the main guys here right from the get-go. So that's why I'm going to choose Cycling Club da Vida, because we are the third best climber on this team. So clicking next, and now the game will do its thing. So I'll do a cut here, or will the game be fast? Yeah, I think the game will be fast. So now, while the game is loading, you can see here now the index of this guide, and we are going now to the training and starting with the mechanics of it. So we are here now in the game, and as you can see, if I click training, you get this message. You can manage race registration and plan rider fitness as of January 2nd when the preseason is confirmed. Okay, meaning you can only do the training aspect in the 2nd of January. You can never do the training on the 1st of January, which is dumb because you lose 1 week of focus training, but we'll talk about that. For now, the thing that I recommend you to do in the first day of your career is go into your calendar, and you cannot unregister the Cyanide Cups, but unregister the races that you can. You have 0 points, so honestly, you cannot unregister anything, so never mind what I was going to say. But that's especially useful for the other seasons where you are still developing your rider, and I recommend you to unregister every race from January till February. Why? Because that way you can, especially you can focus on getting the 2 month levels, 2 months of experience, and the 2 months of experience will give you your first level up. And that's very important because of what? Because the first level up you'll get already an improvement of attributes or evolution of potential, but I recommend that you do improvement of attributes because it's going to be very important. Meaning, coupled with the training that we are going to talk right now, it's going to be massive. So the first thing you have to do is reply to the trainer. I recommend you on the first season to start with the lowest preparation possible, giving you the less tiredness but the less preparation. You don't need that because you are not going to race soon in this season. I'm going to delete my message here, and I'm going to advance a day by clicking the calendar and choosing the 2nd of January and advance to this day. This will guarantee that we are going to advance only one day. Now we are in the 2nd of January, and now we are going to open training, and now we have this available. So, talking about mechanics, you have the general tab and the weekly tab. The general tab is where you can target your objectives. That's not something you are going to do, at least for the first season. That's going to be for the third point of this section of the guide, the race objective season. But for now, the only thing you are going to work on is rest, and you're going to be sensitive on the rest. You have to be considering that you are not going to race till the beginning of March. So considering you have one race here, one tour here, another tour here, another tour here, I think one rest week would be sensible here. Then you got another race here, tour, 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 another race which is the Portuguese championship, and another tour. I think that's going to be very reasonable here. And for this first half of the season, we've got 2 rest weeks set, so that's great. If you want to win some races, which I don't recommend in the first season, I recommend you to try to level up a lot. You have target A or target B, which means you will guarantee or almost guarantee 95% to 100% fitness on the weeks that you are going to set this. You can set, you got 3, you can set 3 in a row, like so. Not quite, but 2 in a row. That will depend with your skills. Or the target B, which will guarantee you between 90 to 95, or even higher if you train for that. But okay. So that's the mechanic of this page here. And you can even ask your assistant trainer to do this, but I don't recommend. I recommend you to do manually. It's not hard, as you can see. And then the most important part of your training, which is the weekly training, where you are going to focus on what you are going to do. And the thing that annoys me the most, only being able to configure this training on the 2nd of January, is that this first week of January you cannot specialize on anything. You have to advance to the 2nd week. And then what I do recommend you to do is, considering the axis, the main axis that you choose for your rider to train that, choose only that to train and try to get 100%. That's what I'll be doing here. Try to get 100% as soon as possible, like this. I think that's the best bet that you can get. So, trying to explain here what these icons are all about. You can hover your mouse here and you can see a detailed explanation of everything. So, but I'm going to explain to you what every of these things do. So, this is the physical training, meaning it's for each physical training that you do here, that you assign here, it will give you 5 XP at the end of the month. Meaning you are guaranteed to have 50 XP at the end of the month because we chose the Grand Champion potential. So at the end of this month we'll get the level up, that's for sure. But more important than that is every one that you set is going to give you plus 5 XP. So have that in mind, that's going to be very important to level up quickly your rider. The second one is stage races, so it's going to focus your skill on stage races, and these stage races, climber, time trial, barrador, sprinter, cobbles and puncher, all of this will focus on those axes that we saw. All of those are correlated with the axis, and that's important for the level ups. The higher you have this percentage at the point you are leveling up, the most attributes increase you are going to get. So it's very, very crucial for you to do the level up at 100% of the stats that you want to develop, or evolution of potential. You can only do evolution of potential on a stat that you have over 75%, so keeping that in mind as well. And because it will be the most efficient way to level up the most, so that's why I'm going to focus a lot on the stage racer here, because I want to get 100% at the end of the January month at stage racer, so I can choose the stage racer axis to level and get the most attributes out of that. So as we can see, I'm going to focus on that. So third week it's stage racer only as well. Fourth week still in the month of January, as we can see, still focusing on this. And we've got 92%. And finally, at the end of January, we are still going to focus on this, and we got 100% at the end of January, meaning we are going to have a level up at 100%. Okay, so now I'm going to focus on the second one, on the puncher, and I do recommend you that for the first season you reach the 100% as soon as possible on both your main objective, main axis, and the secondary axis, so you can have two options to level up and see where the level up is more beneficial to you, or even improve potential. And then you can refine when you are more developed in later levels, let's say level 10. You want to refine, you want to get more sprinter ability, let's say. Focus on sprint. Train, sprint, and when you get to level up 100% on sprint, you are assured that you are going to get very good sprint improvement. It all depends, of course, on the potential of your rider. If you go here to the rider data, I think it's on the rider data. I always struggle to find this. It's not here. It's not on the training as well. Where is it? Where is it? Okay, I think I have to go to the team. It's a little bit stupid. Yes, I have to go here. Yeah, here you can see your potential. So this is your general classification. We have the max potential. Stage races max, climber max, so we are going to be very focused on mountain, and time trial good, not the best, so probably we should want to improve our potential on time trial, so focusing training on time trial in order to get 100% there and then do an evolution of potential. And sprinter we are bad, but we don't care. Very good puncher, bad on Northern Classics and bad on Barrada. And here you can see what the game thinks about primary attributes, physical attributes, and secondary attributes. So, returning to the training page, here I think, yeah, we've covered the mechanics, we've covered first season, which I recommend you to work the hell out of your primary axis and keeping that on 100% and then focusing on the secondary for the rest, like so, like so, like so. But then I didn't talk about the final row of the training. Here is preparation, meaning this is where you can develop your fitness level. Your fitness level will increase naturally, organically, and depending on the skills that you have set by training even on this skill set or these training regimes. But if you want to increase dramatically, you use this physical attribute, not physical preparation, and that will increase your fitness levels here. But take note that your tiredness level will increase as well. Fitness is very important because if you are over 90%, even if you get a negative race day condition, you are not going to suffer big penalties on your stats. Even imagine you have 100% fitness and you roll a 0 on the race day condition. The race day condition can vary between -3 and +3, but you roll a 0, you will get some benefits, you will get some bonus on your stats. Maybe +1 on mountain, +2 on sprint even. If you have low fitness and you get a negative race day condition, your stats will suffer a lot. -10 on stamina. I've gotten that. Things like that. Tiredness is very important as well because it will decide where your green bar is going to start. If you are very tired, your green bar will not start full, will start less than full, and it's going to be easier to pass that threshold that I've talked to you about, that will suffer penalties on your green and on your yellow and red bar, and that will progress through a stage to the next stage, and that will be very detrimental for in a tour. Mental reserves, on the other hand, I don't know what the impact of it is on the game. I'm honestly I don't know what these mental reserves do, what the mechanic of it of this is. I tend to ignore this, but when I don't have anything to train, I train that mental happiness, let's say that. So if I wanted to get a good GP do Alentejo, probably here I would start prepping up. I would start to use preparation in order to up my fitness until there, so I can reach the GP or Alentejo with 100% fitness or close to it. But since first season I don't recommend you to do that. First season I do recommend you to focus only here on the axis, so you can get the max level ups possible. And this one is the happiness that I was talking about, so to keep your reserves, mental reserves high, and I tend to use that on the rest weeks, because on the rest weeks you can only use one slot, and I tend to use this one. The other slots, the other options are not available, only this, And this, we can talk about this. This is the contract points. I never use that. This is when you want to go into a team desperately and you use this to have more contract points to use to put on that team. I don't recommend you to use this. This is very, very circumstantial. It's never going to be used. And I never use that because probably I've been lucky and I've never been injured. So this is especially useful when you are injured to try to put your injury a little bit, your recovery a little bit faster. So training wise, that's it. I don't have any more to talk about. You have all things here, the legend, your fitness, your tiredness. It's going to be more visible along the season, but you can see your fitness is now 79%, your tiredness is 3%, and this will be improved on your skills, which we'll talk after we do our first level. So now I'll do a cut here. Off camera I will do the rest of the training regime, and I'll be back for the 31 of January, where we are going to have our first level up. No, before the 31 of January I'm going to stop here on the Cyanide Cup, so I can show you what you should do in your first season to maximize your leveling up at the end of the month of January. So I'll do a cut here and I'll see you in the Cyanide Cup race. And here we are in the first race of the season, the first race of your game. And if you use your default database, you are going to start your first race here in the Cyanide Cup, but you are not going to finish that race, because once you finish the first race you got some bonus points. I think it's 50 points, so it would immediately put you on the level up, and we don't want to do that. We are going to withdraw from this race. But first I'm going to explain you some mechanics of racing. So first we'll deal with the manager orders, and then we'll talk about the mechanics of this. So if we start the race here, we can see here the mechanic orders. We can pause the game by pressing the minus. The minus key will slow down time, the plus key will speed up time. And I do like this camera. You can use the default camera and then press Alt key, and using your mouse wheel button you can zoom out. I like to get a zoom out so I can have a better view of what's happening surrounding my guy. And the first race you will start alone. You will have only control of your own rider as you progress through, and at the end of this guide, when I will give you some examples of mountain stages and sprint stages with guys that I've used in my series, you'll see that we'll be controlling the entire team, and I'll give you some tips for that as well. So the manager orders is you have the role of a barradeur. Take the breakaway at the start of the race and hold as long as possible. You have to pay attention to this screen, because this is where you can get points, guaranteed points in the race. So the manager wants us to get into the breakaway, and the objective is to get some exposure during a breakaway over at least 65 kilometers. So if I was to finish this race and getting the most amount of points, considering we had our first level up and all that jazz, your first proper race after getting your first level up, and then you are going to try to level up your rider as much as possible, you will want to do that. And for that we are going to do that just for show, and then we are going to withdraw from the race. I'm going to show you everything regarding that. So we know that we had to go into the breakaway at least 65 kilometers. So your rider is here, Figueiredo. So this is the panel where you can see all your stats. That's the yellow bar that I've been talking about, which will decrease with your heart rate over 140. and this is your red bar, which is the sprint bar, let's say that, when you are over 85% of your effort. This is the level of your effort, and this is the stance that you have. You can see here the stances. This is the attack button or the sprint button, considering where you are in the race. It's 90%, 99% of the time it's going to be attack. This is the stance that you are beginning with, maintain position, which means the rider will try to maintain his position on the pack using the effort, which means if I drop my effort to 20%, which will give a fixed amount of max heart rate to your rider, considering his stats, but the pack is going to go way faster than that. You, even though you are maintaining position, you are going to fall down the pack and eventually being dropped off the pack. This effort cursor, meaning if we set this to 20%, let's call this percent, if we are going to get into 20% every time. The difference between the maintaining position is if I put this to 85 like this, and I'm going to effort cursor, and that means I'm going to go 85 all the way, 85 every time, despite what the pack is doing. If I put this on maintaining position, that means I'm going to follow the pack pace, but limited to 85. If the pack will accelerate to 86, I'm going to start dropping on the pack. This relay means we are going to work ahead of the pack. It's the same. So if we are going 85, we are going to work at 85 once we are ahead of the pack. If we are relaying with the other guys, then we are going to wait, go into the pace of the guys that are up front, and once we are at front, we are going to go at 85. Infinite relay, meaning we are not letting anyone overtake us. We are going to take the helm of the pack, and we are going to maintain the effort that we set here. This fetch water bottles is pretty self-explanatory. It's to drop to the back of the pack, get some waters from the car, and distribute the water bottles to every member of our team. Everyone. This one is only useful for our teammates. It's to put them on auto. We can control them, or we can put them on auto. So the manager wanted us to go into the breakaway, right? So I'm going to go 85 dot, meaning I'm going 85 despite what the pack is going to do. I'm going to unpause this, and we are going into the front as fast as possible. You can use your note keypad in order to move your the left and right, and here we go at 85, and we could do the attack in order to get into the front, and now we are in the breakaway. You can see here, and we are using red bar, as you can see, because we are attacking, and now we are going to relay with them. Now we are relaying with them, and we, as you can see here, we are in group 1 with 11 men. This blue means we are in the breakaway, or one of the teammates are in the breakaway, and the pack is 38 seconds, 41 now, behind us. As you can see here on the top right corner, we've got a group cooperation, meaning to cooperate we would have to go to 97% at least. That's why an 85 we are not relaying. Figured is going to relay, and if we increase this to 92 or even 99, let's increase this to 99, now we will be a part of the relaying team. As we can see here, Figueiredo is trying to do that. Let's move him to the side, and now is a part of the relaying team alongside Fernandes here. Yep, so we are well over the expected. That's why we pressed all the guys here. So if we put this to 75 now, we are now going to relay with them. Yep, let's see. Okay, so everybody here on this breakaway would relay. So we are fulfilling the manager orders. 2 minutes and 48 to the pack. If you press spacebar, you get this screen where you can see a lot of things, considering the group position and the time gap, map, the map of the race, riders, the riders that are participating on this race, race strategy, where you can refresh your mind on the manager objective and what you have accomplished yet. So 13 kilometers out of 65 kilometers on the breakaway, events and keyboard shortcuts. That's pretty self-explanatory. But as I stated on the beginning of this race, we've got this covered, we've got the manager orders covered and the mechanics of the in-race covered. Let's grab a water to show you that once you give this command, we are going to fall back to the end of the group where we are. If we are in the pack, we are going to fall back down to the end of the pack. And now we are going to distribute the water bottle, since we got this icon, to the other teammates that are in the group, as we did. But as I was saying at the beginning of this stage, I'm not going to go to end this race because I don't want any points here, nor the manager points, nor the bonus points. So in order to drop from a race, put effort and drop all the way down to 0. You are going to slow down, you are going to stop on the road, and after a while we can speed this to ×8, pressing the plus key. After a while, Figueiredo will withdraw from the race. Look at that, he's withdrew. So we are not getting any points of this race, which is the right thing to do in order to get the first level up with the max amount of points possible. So the only downside of doing this is that you cannot exit the race. You have to wait for the race to be over. So I won't put you through this, so I'll do a cut and I'll be back at the end of the Cyanide Cup, so we can talk a little bit more and we can plan on the next step of this guide. So the race is finished. We are presented with the results page where we can see here the results, of course, and we see that the breakaway did succeed because this was the guys that were in the breakaway. So this could be good for winning the first race, but we don't want to do that. And if we click next, since we withdraw, we didn't get... oh, we did get 1 point. Okay, but 1 point is not that awful, because we did manage to get some kilometers on the breakaway, so the manager gave us 1 point. Okay, but no bonus objective for finishing the first race. That's brilliant. That's very important. And that was only to give you an example. On your game, you are not going to do that, the manager order, so you are getting no points here. So I'm going to do exactly the same on the Cyanide Cup number 2 and on the Cyanide Cup number 3. So I'll be back now for the 31 of January, where we are going to see where we stand in terms of training, and getting into the month of February, where we are going to get the 50 points and the first level up, and we can talk about leveling up after that and skills. And here we are in the 31 of January, the final day of January, heading to the 1st of February, where we will get 50 points for the Montern, because we chose the Grand Champion potential, and we'll get our first level up. We did manage to get 10 more points because on the Cyanide Cup 2 and 3, one of our teammates did very well there, so we got points for that. You can also get points from good classifications of your teammates. But let's get into the 1st of January. First, let's take a look at the training. We are 100% stage racer training, and that's what we are going to do to opt out. So let's advance one day, and here we are. Month turn, XP gain from the previous month, 50 points, so level 2, and congratulations, you just leveled up. So bonus, we've got a skill point, and we can choose between improvement of attributes or evolution of potential. Next level up, it's going to give us exactly the same thing, skill point, and choose between improvement of attributes or evolution of potential. Taking note that not every level up will give improvement of attributes or evolution potential, but will always give a skill point to choose from. So now we are presented with the screen of the leveling up per se. So bringing up the index here of this guide, leveling up and skills, we are going to talk about when to choose the available skills that we've got, when to choose the attributes of potential, and giving you my final thoughts on what skills you should choose in order to optimize your run. So, returning here to the screen, of course we are going to do a progression of attributes. We could choose the evolution of potential. Here, as you can see, the progression of the attributes, we could choose the stage race with which we got 100%. So look at the number of points that we are gaining. Counting 1 here, 4 here, so 5, another 4 here, 9, 10, 3 here, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, plus 3 here, 21, plus 2 here, 23, and plus 5 here, 28 level point. 28 level up. That's gigantic, man. We are going to 72 on mountain, 71 on medium mountain, 70 on time trial, and we get good physicals as well, especially the recovery. So we are from a poor rider, we are becoming a decent rider, very decent rider. So if we choose the puncher that we got poor training, look at the difference. Just because we got that 100%, that's the difference between 100% and 25%. If we choose evolution of potential, we can only choose stage races, because it's the only stat that we got above 75%, and that would put us at 85 max mountain. Here is our potential, which is a range. Medium mountain, which will be around 84, I think, which is the same here. We'll increase time trial, increase prologue, decrease the cobbles, that's good because we don't care, and increase the recovery. But of course we are not going to do that. We are going to choose the progression of attributes and choosing the stage race, getting those 28 points level up. Only sprint is remaining the same. Let's confirm. Good. And now let's talk about skills. The skills that we've got available is fitness peak, extend the consecutive duration of target periods, the willpower, a few times in a season turn the tide and reverse an expected negative race day condition, the training, better manage tiredness that results from a hard preparation. As a result, you can produce more consistent performance across the season. That's the performance sector. Then we've got the personality, charisma, have more influence in the team by receiving more points for change on your race calendar and teammate requests. Attentiveness, gain more XP each month. Networked, by having more contacts of interest, have greater impact on the agent's work in the spring when he's looking for a team, and that's the personality. The discovery, information, learn more quickly about riders, teammates and opponents taking part in the same races as you. Passion, learn more quickly about riders thanks to race results. Observation, be more effective during the observation action in a race. And finally, the race aspect. Technique, stand out thanks to your understanding of your bike and the way you handle it. Stealth, be more astute and inconspicuous during maneuvers to bluff opponents. And super leader, when you have the role of a leader in a race, it enables a teammate to momentarily surpass himself for you. So, having that said, this overall of skills, the most important ones, at least for the beginning, is training and technique. That's for sure. You could be eyeballing this attentiveness, gaining more XP each month, but this is very easily countered by the physical attribute here. This physical one, where is it? This one, which will give 5 XP, considering the skills that will increase 1.1, so 10%, 20%, and 30%. So 10% is 5, 20 is 10, 30 is 15. So with only 3 physical training, you can get plus 15. Everything that the attentiveness gives as a skill, comparing to the other things that you can get as a skill point. So I'm not recommending the skill, the attentiveness skill. And as you can see here, I'm upping my two main hexes, and then using the physical to improve a lot and to get faster level ups very fast, even keeping all in 100%. Even on the rest week, as we can see, we have only one slot. I put the happiness, but we've got 199 and then getting 100 again, all the way using a lot of physicals. And then here exactly the same, and then again all the way training, and I didn't bother to do that training. So returning to the skills set, we have 2 good options here. Fitness peak you don't want, that's going to be especially useful for a season that you want to target races, which is not the case for the first season for sure, probably for the first 2 seasons. Willpower is very good because we can use when we've got a negative race day condition expected, which is not that often. It's due to weather or tiredness. If your guy is too tired, you can use this to reverse and get a +3 race day condition guarantee on race. But this one is very important. This is very, very important. Training. The first level builds up tiredness slightly, reduced beyond 90% preparation. So you'll get tired less frequently, so it's going to be very good for the fatigue. The level 2 is even better. 80% and you'll get less tired, but the most important thing is you get 1 extra slot for the general preparation, meaning on the training here, instead of 4 slots you get 5, which is big, man, very big. And the third one is getting less tiredness again, and getting an extra slot on the specific preparation weeks. The specific preparation weeks is when you set a target here. For instance, you see that yellow? That yellow is specific. I'm going to set that just to show you. If I advance there, you see here on the general we've got 4, but if we go to the specific, we only have 2. With that training level 3, you'll get 3. So that training level 3 is big, man, is big. Not so much for the first seasons because you are not going to set targets. So I would recommend, if you want, to go to level 2. But the first thing I recommend for sure, it's going to technique. Because technique level up will give you an ability, the sneaking ability, which is move up through the peloton now and again. Like an eel, you can cedar up through the peloton in no time at all. When you saw me do the first race, and you saw me trying to get into the front of the pack, trying to break away. You saw that Figueiredo was blocked left, right and center there. With that sneaking ability, you activate that and you will move through the pack like nobody's in front of you. This is brilliant, man. The second one is brilliant as well. Aerodynamic position. You can occasionally adopt an aerodynamic position in order to obtain a slight increase in speed over gentile terrain. Meaning, this is brilliant because you can use this along the race. He has a cooldown. Every technique ability here has a cooldown. The sneaking is very fast, the aerodynamic not so much, and the other one is specific. You can only use it on the downhills, but we'll talk about that in a bit. And this technique will allow you to use a little bit less effort on flat terrain or a false flat. On climbs it doesn't work, so, and even on downhill it does work, so you'll use a little bit less arc rate to achieve the same speed, which is great to save energy. So I recommend to use this all the time once it becomes available, so you can help your rider to save energy. But especially when you do an attack, imagine you have a race where 10 kilometers to the line you got a hill there. You do an attack on the hill, cross there first, completely alone, away from the pack, and then you go downhill. And once you reach the flat to the line, about, let's say, 8 kilometers, you activate this technique, this aerodynamic technique, which will last around 10 kilometers, 8-10 kilometers. You activate this, and you go 90 or something, and you will be a menace. Everyone will struggle a lot to catch you. I think this will make you like an 85 flat guy going 90. So this is so good, man. This is so good. So I do recommend you to get this technique as the first skill, the sneaking one, and that's what I'll be doing. And the third one, acrobatic descent. You can only use this on descending and descendings that are pronounced yellow or red ones in the graph, in the parkour or in the profile of the race. Acrobatic descent, you can try to go for a broke on a descent, but the longer you try, the greater the risk of a fall. Yeah, you'll get a bar of risk, and if you get to very high risk, you have a very high risk of falling down your bike. But this is brilliant. It's like an attack without using too much of your energy, so you can gain a lot of time and you can win races on the downhill races. On the case that I just stated for the acrobatic descent, imagine you have both. You attack on that climb, you reach the top completely alone, you have a downhill, a very steep downhill. You do the acrobatic descent, you gain even more time because you attack on the downhill, and once you reach a flat, you activate the aerodynamic position and go flat out to the line, and nobody's going to get you. This is very good to get some wins early on, so I do recommend that you get two techniques, at least the aerodynamic, then get one training, then get the last technique, and finally get the second level of training, and you will be a menace at level 5. You will be a menace, and then you can choose whatever you want. I think the most useful after that will be getting training level 3 probably. Then willpower is always good, at least the first level, and then focusing on fitness, and then getting a stealth here, because what the stealth does is giving in the first level 2 times you can use that button, the stealth button, which means you will confuse some guys around you. It's very useful when you want to try to do an attack to get into the breakaway and the pack is not allowing you to go, so you press the stealth and try to attack, and you will have a little bit of a gap where the pack do not know that you've attacked into the breakaway, so that could be good, but not too useful because you cannot use that for the final 20 kilometers or so of the stage, so take it with a pinch of salt. The other ones are very circumstantial. This network is good if you want to change team, if you are focusing on a set of team, but that can be countered with the contact here training, this one, the contract discussion, and the charisma can also be good if you plan to set your teammate to alongside you. If you are the team leader now and you want certain guys of your team to be around you certain races, this can be also very good, the information and passion, because once you start, I didn't show that in race unfortunately, but once you start you don't know anything about your teammates and opponents. If you can see here on the team and attributes, you only know about your attributes and about this guy because probably this guy is the leader of the team, yeah. Then you don't know anything about the other guys, and that could be useful to get more information quickly on your teammates and opponents. And the other skills, well, take a look at everyone, at every skill. I don't recommend attentiveness, let the attentiveness to the end. First, let's get the other skills, and I think you are set to go using those tips. So in terms of leveling up and skills, I think that's all that I could discuss. We can try to discuss another thing, which is about when to choose the improvement of attributes or evolution of potential when we are doing a level up. So my train of thought and my rule of thumb is I try to do an evolution of potential circumstantial when I'm a climber. For instance, I'm a stage racer slash puncher like Figueiredo here, but I want to improve a little bit on my sprint. So when I do get a bad level up on the climbing aspects, I'm going to go into the evolution of potential on sprint and get a little bit more sprint, and then once I improve the attributes on the sprint, I'll get a little bit bigger level up there. But that's very circumstantial. So my rule of thumb is if you get a level up of less than 10 points on the axis that you are focusing on, try to consider doing evolution of potential. If not, 10 points or even higher, do the improvement of attributes. That's my rule of thumb. So that's it in terms of mechanics of the game, all that jazz. We are now going to end this ultimate guide for PCM using some race examples, using guys from my series, starting with a mountain stage, then going into a sprint stage, and after that you should be all good and very knowledgeable to attack your own save game. So that's it. So I'm going to do a cut here, and I'll be back with TituElite for a mountain stage. And here we are in race with a stage in the Vuelta de España with TituElite, a stage racer, which you can see here has a very good stat: 84 mountain, 82 medium mountain, 78 on hills, 81 time trial, 76 on prologue, 66 on flat, 58 on cobbles, 56 on sprint, 72 acceleration, 68 downhill, 77 barre, 71 stamina, 74 resistance, and 82 recovery. He is a proper stage racer with a lot of hill as well. And some mechanic that we didn't discuss early on, we've got a +1 on the race day condition. That's why the bonus, we've got 91% fitness, the race day condition of +1, and we've got this stats improved because of that. I will follow. We will follow TituElite on the stage. Oh, I should have talked about the manager orders. We are the leaders, so no real orders. They want us to win this for sure. So, as we can see here, since we are now such a good rider, one of the best in the world, we've got the entire team here able to work for us, and we are going to set some of my usual strategies that I use. So I'm going to put TituElite on 59. That's the max amount in order to save our yellow bar, not use our yellow bar. As we can see here, we've got all the techniques skills enabled. So the sneaking, the aerodynamic position, and this time the stealth as well, stealth here, and this is the downhill, the acrobatic descent. This is the race day condition as I've explained, and this is the energy gel that you have available since race number 1. We didn't talk about that. I use this 5 kilometers to the line. This will give us a little bit more. It's a resistance, let's say that, a resistance improvement, where we get some bonus on our resistance, meaning the yellow bar will decrease slowly once this is activated. Note that this do not activate instantly. It's going to take a little bit of time to do it, and you can see that at the end of the race, where I'm going to activate that for sure. And now we can take a look at the profile of this race. We've got some hills at the beginning, then flat, 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 and then once we are about to reach this first category, the Col di Ordino, it's going to be tougher and tougher, with the final climb being the hardest part of this stage, the Arrisal. So, what I usually do is, considering the stage, which is a mountain one, I'm going to put my best guys on the mountain, not Guernalac. Pil Bilbao is a good option, 79. 80 for Bowman with this +3. Van Etveld with 79. Tobias Foss with 76. Roglic with 79. And this guy, okay. So I think Bowman is my best guy today with 80. Then we've got Etveld or Roglic, or even Pil Bilbao. Everybody with 79 here. I think Etveld. And I'm putting them on my wheel. Why is that? Because since I'm going 59, I want all those guys to be at 59 as well, not using their energy, so trying to make them fresh as possible. As you can see here, the fitness of Van Etveld is only 86 and probably is a little bit tired. That's why his green bar is not full to the max, and even ours is not full to the max as well. And then Roglic, and after Roglic probably Pil Bilbao, or even Pil Bilbao before Roglic. Probably this. Roglic is now an old man, that's why he's still a very good rider, but not the best. Then probably Tobias Foss. Yeah, probably Tobias Foss. This guy, Towel Heck, will be my protector, so you can use teammates to protect you, which means this guy will use a little bit more energy to protect me, and since I am going to be protected, I'm going to use a little bit less energy because I'm being protected. In order to protect someone, you choose the rider that you want to be the protector. Right click on the rider you want to be protected, and click this protected thing. In order for them to follow you, you just have to drag, as I've been doing with these guys. So I want Guernalac now to follow the wheel of Foss, so I'll do this, and I'll put Guernalac on a group, so it's going to be easy access. it's going to be group number 5. So control 5, and TituElite is going to be group number 1. So control 1. So if I press 5 now, it's going to choose Gernalek, and if I press 1, it's going to choose TituElite. Okay, so we can start. I'm going to up this tempo, and what I like to do is click on the head of the pack with the right click, and then choose take position here, keeping the maintain position, and TituElite will now try to be as to the front as possible, and then use the aerodynamic position. Once the aerodynamic position is available, I'll always click on it to help us a little bit and use a little bit less energy in order to do so. If we are stuck in the pack to get into the front, I use the sneaking ability, so it's easier for us to get into the front as well. So let's speed this up. We have talked about this. There's one more mechanic that I should talk to you about, which is the observation, another skill that you can improve. We've got 7 right from the start. This bar will increase, giving you more observation opportunities, and what this gives you is an opportunity for you to learn about guys' race day conditions and fitness levels, like this one. This we don't know anything about, so I'll click this magnifying glass, observe, and now you can see we have full knowledge of his bars. So I think that's it, everything for the mechanics of in race. So let's advance to the end phase of this stage, so I can give you some tips on what I usually do in race for the mountain stages. It's a little bit circumstantial because you have to be aware of your surroundings, be aware of who is attacking. We know that we've got 6 minutes to 14 men up there. You can press the space bar and go into profile and see who's there. Caicedo, Parent Patre, and the other guys. Guilherme is a sprinter, Moscon, guys that are quite dangerous but not the main guys. So you can see here our bottle is halfway full now, and we can use the aerodynamic position again, so let's do it. And our bottle is halfway there, meaning we are getting out of water. So I'm going to grab Gernalek here and press the fetch water bottles, so he'll drop to the end of the pack, as you can see. Grabbing water, and once his bottle is filled, like now, he now has water for everybody. He's going to come into the rest of the team and give water to everybody, and then he'll fall back to the previous order, which was to follow Tobias Voss. Good. So let's keep going. That's the main things that we should do in every stage. We are now under 100 kilometers to the line. Here you can see the distance of the rider there that you have selected, in this case TituElite, and the distance he has to the finish line, the distance he has to the next mountain summit, and the distance to the next sprint, intermediate sprint. So this sprint is 49 kilometers away. This mountain top is the col, the Ordino, is 67 miles away, and the finish line 89, not miles but kilometers away. Here you can see the speed, here you can see the slope, and here you can see the wind direction. For more detail on the wind, you can press the O key, and here you have this indicator that shows you where the wind is blowing. In this case, headwind. As you can see, not good. Headwind is always bad if you are in front. Since we are here in the pack and being protected, it's no biggie for us. But I don't usually have that activated. So Usually on under 100 kilometers I'm going to increase my max effort level to 65, but since we are still on a little bit of a flat, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to increase that on that little bump there on the road where the terrain is a little bit more aggressive. We've got this enabled, so let's do it. It always helps the aerodynamic skill, and this is where the terrain becomes a little bit more aggressive. So as you can see, my 59 is now blinking, meaning it's not enough to keep up with the speed of the pack. So let's increase it to 65. Let's go, let's go, let's go. And since we are approaching the mountain, I'm now going to take this, guys, everybody. You can select by using the control key. So Garnalek, now press control and left mouse click, and we are selecting everybody here. Now I'm going to click on the front guy, doing exactly the same thing, take position here and increasing their max effort to 85, so we are safe that they are going to resist this climb, at least the best mountain guys, of course. We are going to increase the speed. We are almost 50 kilometers, which is a rule of thumb where you should send your water boy guy to fetch you the last bottle of the day. After this you won't need any more water, as a rule of thumb. But mountain stages are a little peculiar because they require a little bit more effort. As you can see, a lot of guys are now without water. We do have still a little bit of water, but we send Gernalek to fetch water, and at 41 kilometers we are not going to need any more water, that's for sure. Now we are going to start climbing. Let's go 75 on the effort, and even 75 we are blinking, but we are gaining position on the pack, so that's brilliant. Let's accelerate this a bit. Okay, brilliant. Let's use this once again. You can always use the aerodynamic position. To be fair, under 50 kilometers you have to think about if you want to press the aerodynamic position or not. We are blinking, so I'm going to increase this to 85. That's the max effort, not to use red and to use all of our mountain skill. So as I was saying, you have to think about pressing this under 50 kilometers. If you want to do an attack at the end and you have flat terrain to the end, I would recommend you to save this for that attack, so you can use after the attack and be a menace on the flat. So since the pack is working so hard, as you can see, our guys are suffering a lot, and with that we have an indication on who's going to be our best guys here to work. Bowman is going to be my last lead out, and Roglic and Bilbao Etvel is doing worse than I thought. This guy who is protecting me is doing very well, to be honest. Doing way better than I thought he would do. Okay, that's interesting. We are still 7 minutes away from the breakaway, so we are not catching the breakaway, that's for sure. Van Etvel is gone. He's completely gone. Okay. We can give the gel to Tobias Foss. To give gel to your teammates, you select your teammates and press the key I. As you can see, this is blinking, meaning is consuming his gel. But once the gel is active, all this rectangle will blink, meaning the gel is active to him. Okay, we are suffering a lot. We are only the only ones with some energy left, because everybody is suffering a lot in this stage, man. This is being raced too damn hard, trying to catch the breakaway, and now attacks are going. I press the P to pause the game. Plop is attacking, but we are not going to move for now. Rinard is doing a fantastic job, and it's going to be flat a little bit to the end. Okay, these guys are not coming up, so let's put them on auto, and I'm going to send this guy to fetch us water. So this guy will be at 85, and let's hope he can give us water. Tobias Voss is now going to be my protector. Good. Good, good, good. Plop will be caught, but we are not catching the breakaway, that's almost for certain. Okay, Mike Padden, Ethan Hayter. Moscon was one of the guys that was caught from the breakaway. Hayton is trying to attack, but not in the good spot. Okay, now our teammates are going to survive for a bit longer. Okay, these guys are back, so let's put them on the front as well. We can even send Gernalek to fetch water as well. Okay, let's speed this. We are recovering our energy, which is brilliant. And for the final climb, we are 15 kilometers. We are going to set a sprint train, in air quotes, of course.
A fall has just happened in the peloton. Several riders are on the ground.
Yes,
the
yes,
distance
yes.
has definitely widened.
Yes, yes, yes. I don't know why TituElite is so far down here. I want you to be more to the front. Let's do this. Okay, good. 10 kilometers.
One attack that's going to leave a good few in its wake.
Okay, so let me just pause the game and let's do the sprint train that I was talking about. Bowman going to be my last one. Roglic. Pelo Bilbao. Probably Tobias Voss. And Hetfeld is here. Tolnek not so much. Gernalek not so much. They are still catching water. So Hetfeld with the gel active. Let's go 85 or even 90. Why not 90? 90 is going to use red bar. And it's going to be a struggle for everybody.
It could be decisive.
These guys are attacking as well. Good. This is a good pace, for sure.
Five kilometers to the finish line.
7 kilometers. Let's
being cut.
give Bilbao and Roglic the gel, meaning I'm going to use now Tobias Voss, and we can put Van Etvel on Titular's elite wheel. Open to the side. Let's go Tobias Voss.
He could go all the way. This climb features some dreadful percentages.
6 kilometers, gel to Bowman. As you can see, Van Etvel is blinking, meaning the gel is active to him. Let's go. Let's keep going 90 for the time being. Five kilometers is where I want to send Elite with the gel. Now 95 with Voss. And this should be all over for them. 95 now with we can put these guys on auto. And Tobias Voss can try to grab my wheel.
Now the guys
95 with
are
Bilbao.
serious questions of the riders in the rear as more of them are left in the
Bilbao
wake.
is gone. And let's go 95 with Roglic. Doing well. Roglic is done. Let's get into the 3 km mark and let's work with Bowman at 90. Roglic can try to fall back into my wheel as well. Let's change this a little bit. Go, go, go. Brilliant job by Bowman. We are not going to win the stage, that's for sure, but we are going to do a good result. Gaining time on the main guys for the the general classification. TituElite has still a little bit of a red bar available. We can do this, and once you press this you lose the wheel of the guy and the guy will drop to maintain position, so we'll get into the wheel again and put him to work again. Ooh, can we win this still? Oh man, we can still win this, I think. Let's go 85 with Elite. Second place is ours, at least, I think. Let's sprint. We'll get some bonus seconds, that's for sure.
He found the resources to get this win.
Yeah, third place. So 4 bonus seconds and a lot of seconds gain on the road. Ayuso, Rodriguez and Carapaz
The tail enders are still
losing a
coming in.
little bit of time, but that's how you do a mountain stage. That's what I usually do a mountain stage, and I usually have a lot of success with this, as shown here. Despite the fact that we didn't win the race, we lost to 2 guys that went into the breakaway, we did manage to get a very good result. Very, very good result. So if we see the results page, we can see the damage done. I think we won around 1 minute to the main guys. We can see here the results. We lost 29 seconds to the winner, but Ayuso 51 seconds minus 29. So we gain around 30 seconds to him, a little bit less than that, plus the 4 seconds of bonus, meaning general wise we are now 20 seconds ahead of Flores, which is not a contestant, and Fabro is not a contestant as well. Van Vulmer is a contestant and is now 36 seconds behind, Rodriguez 40 seconds, and Max Pool 1 minute, Ayuso 1 minute and 12. So this was brilliant to us, and that's a mountain stage here in PCM. So now I'm going to do a cut, and I'll do exactly the same with a sprinter stage, a flat one, a stage that is going to be won in a sprint, hopefully. And this is the final 30 kilometers of a flat stage. It's not flat as a pancake. This is the first stage of the Australian Tour. We've got a hill here, but not long. It's steep, but not long enough to put us out of any sprint train. So I put all my guys here at the front, and let's go into a little bit closer to the 20 kilometer mark, and then let's talk about the plans that I'm going to be set in motion here for this flat stage, flat stage, sprint stage. And unlike the mountain stage, we are not going to choose the best mountain guys, of course. We are going to choose the best sprinter guy here to release Titular Forte. As we can see, he's a sprinter, alright, getting 0 on the race day condition, but since he has 96% fitness, he got some bonus even on sprint, so 82 on sprint. Sajnok will be my last lead out with 77 sprint, and then the other guys I've selected for their flat ratings, because Sajnok is the only one that is going to be sprinting. The other guys are going to be flat. So we've got a good flat team here. Not exceptional good guys, but good enough. And I usually use 5 men in front of my leader. Sorry, 4 men in front of my leader. Yeah, 4 men, right? Now I'm in doubt. Now I'm a little bit doubt what I should be doing. Yeah, I think it's 5 men, 4 men, sorry, in front of my leader. Or it's 5. Oh boy. No, it's 4 men, yeah. 4 men, okay. But I'm going to set sprint at the 9 kilometer mark. No more breakaway, so this is going undoubtedly be a sprint train.
15 kilometers to the finish
15
line.
kilometers. And the mountain is gone. Or the hill, not a mountain. This is not a mountain. This is a hill. Okay, 10 kilometers.
Remaining.
And let's wait for the 9 kilometer mark. Here we are, 9 kilometers. Let's give this to TituElite, why not? Sajnok, Moschetti, Welshford, Bjerg, and I think that's it. Right? Correct. So, Bjerg and Welshford both with gel. You go into my wheel, you go into my wheel, you go dot 99. When I mean dot is
While the pack is
effort,
getting close to the
effort
finish
level.
line, everybody seems to agree that the stage will be won in
Go,
a
go,
sprint.
go, go. Go, go, go. Go, 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 Bjerg. Why are you so slow? Okay, 7 kilometers. Let's give the gel to Moschetti. Good. 6 kilometers. Let's give the gel to Sajnok. And we are going to use Welshford now. 99. Bjerg is a little bit too damn slow for my taste. Okay, good.
Only 5
Sajnok is a
kilometers
little
left.
bit blocked there, but he's coming. He's coming. He's coming. Good, good. Sajnok is here. Brilliant. 4 kilometers. So let's use Moschetti now. Welshford dropping into my wheel. Moschetti is now going hard. 3 kilometers to the line. I will use now the sneaking ability in order to avoid Fort being blocked by anyone. Keeping them in the wheel. Keeping Moschetti going. Go, 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 go. And 2 kilometers to the line, like now. Sajnok, my last lead out, will sprint. Moschetti can sprint as well. Sajnok is sprinting, TituElite could not hold his wheel, but now is going. Sajnok is done, so TituElite sprint. And this is an easy win for TituElite. And that's what I usually do in the sprint stages. And as you can see, to great effect, to very great effect. We did even get some time on the road, but considering this is a sprint, a flat stage, I think the game will not acknowledge this gap that we've done here. Look at big TituElite, big legs, big guy with the sprint, getting to the line completely alone, winning easily this sprint. Brilliant. Yeah, the game acknowledged, so we get 8 seconds plus the 10 bonus seconds, putting us, of course, in first place. This was the first stage of this Tour of Australia. But that's it. I gave you an example of a mountain, now an example of sprint. I've talked about every mechanic. I think this guide is completed. I hope you succeed in your save games using this guide and the knowledge that I put in this guide. If you want to see this rules of thumbs and all this knowledge that I've shared with you in practice, you can follow my series in PCM. You can search in the channel the playlists of PCM and you can see this put into action. So that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and leave me some comments down below. I hope you find this guide useful, and I hope to see you in my PCM series. Bye bye, thanks so much for watching. My name is TituElite. Bye bye, and take care.